Today, we are going to speak a little bit about Thailand's new alcohol laws and just how ludicrous they are. We're going to talk about a few other things. Right now, the exchange rate is 32.35 US dollars to the Thai baht, which is a little bit low. Air quality is 62, which is moderate. The temperature is 78 and the high is 85, the low is 76, and the feel like temperature is 81. Humidity, a whopping 91%, and there will be heavy rains all this week. There's heavy rain warnings. So that sets the tone here. Uh, anyway, I hope you're all doing well. Sawadee Ton Chow. Welcome from Bangkok, Thailand, where you'll find a kaleidoscope of color, sights, sounds, and of course, all sorts of smells. Oh, I got a lot of things coming up. I just realized a few things. Uh, I'm going down Lot Prow Road the other day with my son, who turned 23 yesterday, and I'm looking at the sidewalks and I say, wow, these sidewalks are beautiful. They've redone them. Fantastic. And then I look up and I look around, I look at the buildings and they're all falling apart. That's Thailand for you. Anyway, Thailand's alcohol laws, yes, the same ones dating back to the 1972 decree, are still in force despite rumors of a repeal, and the well known 2 to 5 p.m. and post midnight bans remain in effect for most retail outlets, though some hotels and entertainment venues now enjoy limited exemptions. What has changed as of November 8th is the enforcement for now the drinkers themselves can be fined up to 10,000 baht for consuming alcohol during restricted hours or in prohibited places. In short, the law hasn't been scrapped at all, it's been tightened and modernized, shifting responsibilities from the vendors to anyone drinking at the wrong time or place. Uh, Foreigners can still drink in beer bars and go-go bars uh, here in Thailand, but with important caveats. You'll want to highlight, um, you want to think of these places and think of what's going on. The newly revised alcohol law makes it illegal to consume alcohol in any commercial venue during restricted hours 0, that's 12 o'clock, to 11 a.m. and 1400 to 1700, that's 2 to 5 p.m. Unless venue has special exemption, a fully licensed entertainment venue, hotel, or airport lounge. Now, bars and go-go's that are licensed, this is the important thing. And how do you know if they're really licensed? You just go in there and ask them, and they go, oh, yeah, we're licensed, and they're not. The ones licensed as entertainment venues seem to be among the exempt category, seem to be. So patrons, including foreigners, can drink there outside the normal retail sales window, but the law still hinges on how the venue is licensed. That's a big caveat, and whether it operates within the rules. A foreigner in a regular convenience store, supermarket, or non licensed bar will not be safe from fines if they drink during the restricted hours. But in a bona fide licensed bar slash entertainment venue, you're likely okay, provided you check the hours and license status. How many people check the license status of a bar? Good morning, Bruce. How you doing? In short, you can drink but only in the right type of venue and only during permitted hours. Better to assume the restrictions apply until you verify, until you're absolutely sure. I don't understand this. To me, it's a very, very foolish thing to do. Um, but you ever notice how people in charge always find new ways to fix things that weren't broken? And here in Thailand, uh, that is this new law. You got a guy buying beer who can be fined for drinking at 2:01 p.m. or after 12 p.m. I just don't understand it. I mean, you got some guy walking home in Pattaya. It's 11:45 and it takes him 20 minutes. It's 12:01 and he's drinking. Now, granted, I don't think the police are going to go after people, and they have said they're not going to go after people at first. They're going to issue warnings. But you, not just the bar owner, not just the shop that sold the alcohol, can be fined. And apparently, when the clock strikes 2 p.m., that cold beer you were enjoying a minute ago suddenly turns into a public menace. And I understand it, but I don't. It's about control. It's about regulating everything. And this isn't some old village superstition. This is official government level policy. And the one thing that I have learned here is Thailand loves control. It may look like chaos, and in some ways, it is. But underneath all the smiles and the mipe and ride, there is a deep seated need to regulate behavior. I don't particularly like that, but I'm not a drinker, fortunately. But I don't like it. I think it's so stupid. You want to drive tourists away? I mean, oh, we want the high value tourist. You want the high value tourist, but oh, they're not allowed to drink at 2:01 at a place that's not licensed. How do they know what's licensed or not? They got to go in and say, "Oh, can I speak to the manager, please? Is this place fully licensed?" That's so ridiculous. It really is. All right, let me read this stuff here. What's going on? What's going on with my computer here? We got a little bit of a lag, unfortunately. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I know it's been a while since I streamed, and this is how it is. I don't want to stream 3 or 4 times a week like I used to a long time ago. Johnny, hello. You would think establishments with correct license would advertise. Well, they're not allowed to advertise. Remember, they weren't allowed to advertise a long time ago. Listen, you're talking about Vietnam. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. I'm sorry. Oh, Vietnam is a high value place. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's really not. Okay? You can't even stay there for a year without having to leave the country. Okay? Oh, we're working on it. We're working on it. They've been working on it for 2 years. Okay? Now, I like Vietnam, but I can tell you, I probably will not go back anytime soon. I've been there like 5 times now. Um, and so what does that matter? It doesn't matter if you are high value. Vietnam is just as much of a shithole as Thailand. I hate to tell you that. There's plenty of garbage. There's plenty of things on the road. And now I know Vietnam has its strong points, and I know that Thailand has its strong points. But I'm sorry, Vietnam, Cambodia, they don't compare to Thailand. I don't care what anybody says. And listen, you talk about high value. Listen, I hate to say it. I'm high value here, but I don't spend the money because I don't want to. It's not because we don't have the money. We have the money. I don't want to spend the money. You know, that's about how it works out. I'm not living here off of 30,000, 40,000 baht a month. So, people can say what they want about Vietnam. One place that I do like is Indonesia, but Indonesia has its own share of problems, just like every place else. And, as many things as I say about Thailand and how it is lacking and how, oh, this is bad, that's bad, I still love the place. You know, I was thinking the other day about all these places that I want to go and that my wife and I want to go. Greece, Spain, back to Portugal, maybe to live in Portugal. I don't know. Ecuador, you know, we're thinking about all these places. Italy. And I think of them and I go, okay, so if I go there, I'm going to have a completely different set of problems. And quite frankly, Thailand doesn't seem that bad. It seems pretty darn good. All right, let me get back to this because I don't want to lose focus here. The irony is that, back in 1970, under the military junta, when a few generals decided that civil servants were drinking too much after lunch, they banned alcohol sales from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. to keep the government sober. That's more than 50 years ago. And that same rule is still on the books, and now it's being expanded to punish the sellers and the buyers. So let that sink in. Really think about that. And this country has changed beyond recognition. There are skyscrapers, digital nomads, tourists in the millions, but we're still living under a drinking law made for bureaucrats in green fatigues who didn't want their office workers drunk in the afternoon. Not to mention, they're probably drunk, or at least some of them. It's ridiculous. And for all the modern conveniences here in Thailand, there's a lot of things that are not so modern. Okay, so retail is a bar retail. Restaurants are retail. I mean, you're talking about this, but that's not how it is. Really. Okay, in airports, I understand they, let people drink in airports. Woohoo! I want to get smashed in the airport. I don't want to do that. Oh God. Yeah, Bruce. Um, well, it's almost as bizarre as Thailand's. If you walk around with no underwear, it's against the law. Who made that law? You know, no, you're asking the question, is it just retail? No, it's not just retail. It's retail and a lot more. So, to continue, if you think that this is about morality, then you're kidding yourself. It's about control. It's about maintaining the illusion that rules equal order. Now, let's be honest. If you want to drink at 2:15 in the afternoon, you're going to find one. It's not stopping anybody. Hey, listen, I'm going to buy a 12 pack at 159 and I'll just take it home and get trashed. Oh, that's going to stop people from drinking. Bars can close their shutters, restaurants pour drinks into coffee mugs, and 7-Eleven clerks just say no have until 5 o'clock. The law is a joke and everyone treats it like one except the people writing it. They think, oh, we're doing something so beneficial for the country. Oh my God. Who are they kidding? Oh, yeah, Pattaya, no prostitutes in Pattaya. And, Pattaya have good reputation. I just don't understand the mentality here. They're not just selling to locals. Listen, if I went down the street, down the little market down the street, I mean, it's 2 minutes away, and I went in and said, give me some sangsong. They'd give it to me. If I wanted a beer, they'd give it to me. So they're not stopping anybody. And they're doubling down on their nonsense. That's basically all they're doing. And instead of saying, hey, this policy, it doesn't work, it's not going to work, it doesn't stop anything. Listen, Thailand still has a lousy driving record. They still have a high rate of alcoholism and accidents involving alcohol. Maybe it's because the people don't think. A lot of them don't seem to have brains where they can critically think about the logic behind drinking a 12 pack and then getting behind the wheel of their car and driving from point A to point B, whatever that might be. It's like it's like watching someone fall into a hole and their solution is to dig deeper. And you can't legislate self-control. And this is something that really bothers me about China. They try to regulate maturity. They try to regulate darn near everything, and all you can do is make, and all it really does, and all you can do is just make it more inconvenient for the people. Like me, I'm not causing any problems. I don't go out and get drunk and drive and kill somebody. I'm not going out getting smashed every time I buy a bottle of wine. If I want a beer, usually if when I drank, which I haven't drank in months now, not because I have a problem with it, I just don't want to drink. But I used to go to the grocery sometimes, and they have you hunt we cook there, right? And I would get good morning, Jim. I would get myself a steak and some potatoes and vegetables, and then I would get like a nice stout beer. And I would have that with my lunch. And sometimes it was 158. And then at 2:15 I was still drinking the beer. So what is the point of putting this law into practice? And like I said, the government they can fine individuals, tourists, locals, expats, whoever they want if they're caught drinking between 2 and 5 p.m. or after 1 a.m. You want to walk down the street with a beer in your hand, it better not be 201. And they can fine you up to 10,000 baht. Now, that's not a massive amount of money, but I can tell you I'd rather have 10,000 baht in my pocket than in their pocket. Really. How you doing, Jim? Just load up on liquor and rent a condo with a nice balcony that you can't easily fall off of like a normal person. Agree, LOL. Bars are a scam anyway. Well, I'm not going to debate whether they're a scam or not. They are what they are. A bar is a place to go drink. Whether they scam you or not, if they scam you, they're scamming you because you're allowing yourself to be scammed. You're paying a lot more for your booze, I can tell you that. Understand clubs and bars. Well, licensed entertainment venues are not included in the law. So, what is going on with my internet? All it will take is a few tourists getting fined, having drinks over at lunch, and it will go viral. PR nightmare. Doing really good, thanks. Still working a lot of projects around the house. Yeah, I got my own little projects here, that I'm working on. Little things. I'm the one who cleans the house most of the time. I mean, like, does a deep cleaning on it. The wife doesn't usually do that, but that's just because of a lack of time. And I'm like, I want this place to be clean. I want it to be the way I want it. I'm a little bit of a control freak when it comes to that. So, anyway, hey, listen, do me a favor, click the like button if you so desire. If you like this live stream, if you like the videos I do, if you want to just click it, go ahead and do that. 25 people and I got 5 thumbs up. You wonder why I don't stream? It's because of things like that. Really, I just don't have the same passion that I used to have. And when I'm getting a little bit of action, I've got 60, 70, 100 people. Then I like to stream. Oh, it's great. And I get people that click the thumbs up. Wow. Oh, I got people talking to me. Okay, well then it's worthwhile. Has nothing to do with the money at this point, but it does have to do with how many people click the thumbs up and how many people get into the chat and get involved in it. And because what's the point? If there's nobody going to talk about things, I'm talking to myself. Yeah, that would be nice, I guess, but whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is. Now, to understand the nuances of this law, the old law banned sales. That's why grocery stores, convenience shops, and supermarkets cannot sell booze in the afternoon. They actually pull down a sheet, and you're not supposed to reach in and buy something. Then if you go up to the counter, they'll go, "Oh, sorry." And if their clock on the register shows 2 o'clock, they're not going to sell it to you. But now it's the buyer. If you buy it before 2 p.m., that's okay. You drink after 2 p.m., you're the problem. And it is rather comical that the government is trying to plug holes in a sinking ship by blaming passengers for getting wet. And of course, there are some exceptions, like everywhere in Thailand. If you're in a hotel or an airport, or like I said, an approved entertainment zone, then you're fine. But nobody says, nothing says public safety like laws that don't apply in expensive places. So let's go back for a minute. Let's go back, well, 53, almost 54 years now, 1972. Let me get this straight. I'm aware of the no sales between 2 to 5, but I wasn't aware you couldn't consume between those times. No, you can't. Now, you can at home, but if you go to a place and it's not a registered venue, it's not an entertainment venue, it's not an airport or a particular type of restaurant or whatever, then you are not supposed to be drinking at that time. And if you do, you can be fined up to 10,000 baht. If they keep piling on the rules, I'm going to start making shine on my balcony. I have seen Thais putting booze in their carts before 5 p.m., but a foreigner will get told not to do the same. I've seen this at a well-known supermarket. Yeah, I don't give a shit. When they tell me not to do something and they let foreigners, they get Thais do it right in front of me, I'm going to say something. That I will say something about. Generally, I don't say a thing. I don't get involved. I just sit there and mind my own business. Listen, I don't want to talk about anything with anybody. Everybody can do their own thing. They do whatever they want. I'm going to do what I want. That's how I live my life now. I don't have to get involved in anything. And I'm going to tell you a little story. This happened a little while ago. Friend of mine, he knows who he is. He meets with me at Pacamara. Now, we don't drink alcohol at Pacamara. That's not an alcohol-related story. But he comes and meets me. We're sitting there having a nice talk. And the music is loud. Now, in the mall, by a particular time, usually about 9:30 or at least 9:44 every day, they start playing all kinds of stuff. I don't know why. Nobody's in the mall except the employees. I don't know if they're trying to fire them up or what they're trying to do. I've never been able to hear exactly what they're saying because it's all muddled. So the music is loud. And I hear it. And I'm like, oh, God. Now I'm thinking to myself, and I'm kind of saying to him, man, it's a little bit loud. I can barely hear myself think. He gets up and he says very nicely, can you please turn the music down? She kind of gives him a little look, but she turns it down. So then a few minutes later, she turns it up again. He goes over to her and goes, could you please turn the music down? She turns it down and she moves it away from us because we're in the corner. Now, nobody else can hear it. There's nobody in Pacamara. Nobody can hear it. Just us because we're right in the corner. I mean, if somebody was next to us, yeah, but there's nobody in the place. So she moves the speaker and the music is farther away. We can't really hear it. Oh, everything's good. We're chatting away. Oh, 5-10 minutes later, she moves the speaker and the what was it? Little boom box or whatever. She moves it back to the corner, and she turns the music up. Finally, my buddy, he just goes, you know what? He walks over and he starts to go behind the counter. And they're going, no, no, you can't come in here. You can't go in here. He goes, turn it down. He's yelling at him. And I go, oh, God. Because I know for a fact she's going to turn it down eventually. When it hits like 10 o'clock, she'll turn it down. She tells him, this is for the customers. He goes, what customers? There's no customers here. It was for her. It was her music. He goes, turn it down. And he's like saying it firmly now. And he's like pointing, turn it down. And she's like, and he don't understand. I can't hear what she's saying. I'm just sitting there going like this. I'm like, oh my God. I don't want to get involved. I didn't do anything. I'm not saying anything. Quite frankly, she could have left the music up and I wouldn't have said a word. So he says, you turn it down or I'm going to stick that thing up your ass. And I'm like, oh my God. So there were two girls. The one girl he's talking to was like the manager. The other girl looks over at me and she goes, and I go, hey, I don't know. I know nothing. I don't know anything. So she finally turns it down. And then he comes over to me and he goes, I think I was a little bit too harsh. I think maybe I should say I'm sorry. I go, don't say you're sorry. She had told him, if you come behind here, I'm going to call security. He goes, call them. You got to turn the music down. Now, that is a Western way of thinking. You turn the music down because I'm the customer. Her thinking is, this is my place. I'm doing what I want. And if you don't like it, take a hike. Bad business. Not really good business. But okay, come on. It wasn't that big of a deal. So he says, he comes back and he says, maybe I should say I'm sorry. I said, no, don't say you're sorry. Don't. Just stop. Okay. We start talking. About 10 minutes later, a security guard walks up. I'm sorry, I have to tell this story. So the security walks up and is talking to the girl and she goes, she waves him off. He's just getting ready to turn. He goes, oh, I should get up. I should go talk to him. So he starts to get up. I go, no. Don't say a word. Sit down. He sits down. I say, why are you going to go over and make a problem? There's no problem. He's leaving. He's walking away. So he sits down. He doesn't say anything. And then, a couple of minutes later, he's like, well, I kind of feel bad for how I acted. But, she was in the wrong. So you know what he did? He did what he should have done in the very beginning. He wrote a letter to the upper management of Pacamara and said, hey, this girl, she's giving me an attitude. She doesn't want to turn the music down. It's extremely loud. I can't hear myself think, blah, 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 blah. And then they wrote him back and said, we'll get back to you shortly. Maybe they wanted to talk to her. I don't know. And so now he's waiting to talk to them and see how it is resolved. But I can tell you, they're not going to fire her. It's not going to be resolved. So that's why you just go, might been right. Whatever. You just let it go. And she'll turn it down. Even if there are customers there and the music is for the customers, she'll turn it down because she knows, oh, we don't have to have it that loud. Anyway, that sucks. We can't drink in a cab, at a truck, a Mr. Pop in the afternoon. Agree with Bruce. If something bad happens to tourists, it'll go viral and make Thailand look horrible. Well, did you see the Miss America? What was it? Miss Universe thing or whatever it was with the Thai who was just railing on this. I think she was Mexican, railing on her. And all the girls got up and said, we're out. And they left. They didn't want to be in there with them. And so then later on, he's talking about what happened and blah, blah, blah. And all I got was that he was a gay and he had a fight with his boyfriend or something. and that he was in a lousy mood or whatever, and that was what caused everything, something like that. I'm like, so you're going to be a complete dick to a girl because your boyfriend and you had a disagreement. My God, I look at it now. I'm sorry. I know I'm not that old, but I look at this kind of situation. I look at these alcohol laws. I look at the cannabis laws. I look at all these laws that they're passing here and in the United States and in other countries. I mean, in England, you can't even say anything on social media that is remotely negative about somebody in a certain category. I just wonder what in the hell is going on in the world. I just don't know. I just have my doubts. I really do. I don't understand it. And that is one of the biggest reasons why I don't want to be around people all that much. Because I don't need to hear all this garbage. It's all bullshit. You know, most of it is just bullshit. It's like if you were worried about if you're going to eat or not, you wouldn't have these problems. Anyway, let me continue. I got a little off track there. Okay, 1972 military rule here in Thailand. Civil servants were reportedly taking long lunches, having a few too many drinks, and showing up to work a little bit buzzed. So the generals passed a rule: no alcohol sales from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. The idea being that they would keep the country's bureaucracy sober enough to function. Now that made sense then, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they should have went to the people and they should have passed out a memo that said, "We do not allow anybody drinking at lunch. If you come to lunch drunk, we're going to fire you." But that is not the Thai way. And the problem is that no one really ever repealed that law. It just became part of daily life. And now it's been here for 53 years. And something in Thailand starts as temporary and then it ends up as permanent. And this is a perfect example. 53 years later, nobody remembers why the law existed and they keep enforcing it because that's the law. Kind of like you're not allowed to wear any, if you're wearing no underwear, you're going to get busted. Whoever put that into play and expected it to be something that people enforce, the police enforce. Now, this same mentality is back with trying to get the drinkers to pay. And this is a supposed public order. And it's not about order at all. It's about it's about the illusion of it. And it's just complete nonsense, really. People who want to drink, they're going to drink. Thailand is not turning into a nation of teetotalers because of a time window. People are not stopping their booze intake. And all this does is punish responsible adults while encouraging petty corruption and confusion. I've seen this in Thailand so many times. And you walk into a shop at 2:10 p.m. and the clerk looks around nervously and whispers, "Cannot sell, boss watching." You both laugh because you know it's ridiculous. I mean, I brought a bottle of wine up to the counter at 2 o'clock. Like I thought it was 1:59. I'm like, "Here you go, here you go." And the girl's like, "Sorry, 2 o'clock." I'm like, "Oh my God." So 1 minute makes that big of a difference. At the same time, the small bar next door that relies on afternoon tourists, they can lose 3 hours of income if they are not a registered entertainment venue. And if this was about drunk driving or keeping the streets safe, then fine, I would understand it. Then you go after the real offenders. But this is moral theater. It's really just a performance. And the kicker is now that the buyer is the one who gets fined, that opens the door to selective enforcement. It's one, just like the cannabis law, more about the gray zone where authority can be used however someone feels like using it. And I could tell you about the cannabis law. They did put it into effect in the Royal Gazette that the buds are, they're illegal, and you do need a script. And guess what? Nobody does that. And I'm just like, wow. I thought for sure they were going to do something. And you know, you don't hear about it. It's like, hey, America, hey, Europe, hey, everywhere else. Look, it's illegal in Thailand. We put it into the Royal Gazette, so now it's illegal. We're just not going to enforce the law. It's kind of like the helmet law. I go from my house to the mall. They almost never give me a helmet. I'm talking about 98 times out of 100, they don't give me a helmet. I have to ask for it. If this was really about, well, let's just be fair. You know, I kind of understand a little tiny sliver of the argument. Thailand has alcohol related problems, the accidents, domestic violence, health issues, and I get that, but the government's trying to show it's being proactive. They're not being proactive here. You don't solve these problems by punishing people for drinking at the wrong time. It's kind of like banning umbrellas because it rained too much last year. Where does that come into? I just don't get it. Okay, I really don't. What is this? Says 2 p.m. drink at home. Keep it secret from the Thai and foreigners. Say nothing. Thailand will be the first to sign up for the mark of the beast. WEF strong in Thailand. This has nothing to do with the WEF. I mean, get the fuck out of here. A large amount of riders in Bangkok wear a helmet. Only about 10% up here do. No, a large number of drivers wear their helmets, but their passengers are a very small percentage of those who wear helmets. I can tell you that. I see it all the time. And, you know, uh, yeah, I mean, it's a smart thing to do. But even the ones who do wear helmets, a lot of them are wearing those flimsy pieces of shit that if they hit the ground, it's not going to do any. It'll split right open, and then their head will hit the ground, and who knows what's going to happen. If you really want to wear a helmet on a motorcycle, listen, all I rode in America, I think I had 3 cars all the way up to when I was about 31, 32. I had 3 cars. I had a car when I was 17. Then I got rid of that one. Then I had another car later on when I was, I don't know, 20 something. Then I had another car after that, a Honda Accord, which was a great car. I bought it used for 5 grand in cash, and it ran fantastic. And you know, I rode motorcycles. I had like 7 motorcycles because it was just very convenient for me. And what I didn't like was when it rained, I was screwed. I always had to put on a raincoat, and it was just a pain in the ass to drive because you have to be very, very careful. So now I don't want to drive a motorcycle, although I do get the urge every once in a while to get on a motorcycle, but I never want to ride it in Bangkok. In Bangkok, it's just not safe. Okay. Yes, the eggshell helmets, those pieces of shit that are paper thin. Um, yeah, you got baseball batting helmets, you got things like that. Most of the time, they're shit. If you don't have a full face helmet, then what are you wearing a helmet for? It's not going to do you that much good. All right, it puts a little bit in between your noggin and the pavement, you know. And I'll tell you what, sometimes I do um, go from my house to the mall on a motorbike, or from my house to across the street from the mall because it's a little bit cheaper, and then I will walk across. I don't always do that, but always on the way home, I take a taxi, which, if you're coming from the mall and coming home on a motorbike, it's like 40 baht. If you go in a taxi, it's 60 baht. So for 20 baht more, I feel a lot safer. And even going there, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should just stop taking a motorbike. Because if I go down now with all my injuries that I have, and at my age, and I'm not the same as I used to be, and when you get older, you're not as flexible, and there's all kinds of things that happen. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. So anyway, let me go on here. If you are living here, try and be intelligent. Use your brain. Do not drink during the restricted hours in public. Don't even chance it. Why would you chance it? Oh, I don't really care about 10,000 baht. Well, listen, you're asking about the taxi meter. They never do that shit with me. I'm talking about 98 taxi drivers out of 100 don't do that shit with me. The two that do, I go, no, turn the meter on. And I would say the vast majority of the time they turn it on. If they don't want to turn it on, I go, okay, close the door and I leave. It's that simple. I don't take taxis that want to negotiate with me. The only time I negotiate is if I'm going to another city that is, 4 hours away, or even to Pattaya. But I know the prices, and I don't really, it's not a big deal. Okay. Most people don't have a clue how much it costs. If they're smart, they'll look on the internet and they'll figure it out from 3 or 4 different websites. But it's not a big deal. But don't drink during restricted hours. That's just, don't buy from shops when the shutters are closed. Just, if you really want to drink, buy during regular hours when things are open. And you know what? If you're in your home, um, no one cares. No one cares what you're doing inside your home. No one cares if you're smoking a joint inside. But if you're at a bar or a restaurant, especially in smaller towns, pay attention. Is the bar a registered entertainment venue? And the worst thing you can do is argue with someone who's enforcing it like a cop. You would never win. You just go, cop, cop, cop. Okay, no problem, no problem. Oh, you want me to go to the state? Okay, no problem. Bah, let's go. And you just go. Then you get there and they're like, okay, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Then maybe you can negotiate a little bit. Oh, your fine is 30,000 baht. Oh, no, pang mak na. Oh,ไม่ได้นะ. Ha pan, okay, mai. And then they go, bad pan, 8,000. Jet pan, you negotiate with them. So the worst thing you can do is argue, because you're not going to win. And Thailand and the police, no one cares whether you're right or not. They care if you're quiet, and that way you let them do what they feel like they need to do as the authority. Now, have you ever been told you couldn't buy a drink because of the time? Have you been out? It's 2:01 in the morning, or it's 12:01, or whatever it is, and they say no more drinks. Now, I've been in places many, many times when they're saying, okay, last call for alcohol. Give me a drink. But I'm still drinking after they're supposed to be closed. I'm walking out the door with the drink in my hand. But that was a long time ago. And do you think this law is about morality, or is it about money, or what is it about? Now, I was under the impression that Thailand was going to scrap this 2 to 5 p.m. ban completely. I don't know what happened, but they're going the other direction here. As soon as I open the door, I say meter. Yeah, I don't. There is no negotiating. If I'm in Bangkok and I just want to go somewhere in Bangkok, there is no negotiating. Now, I did negotiate once when I went from here to, what was the name of that old coffee shop? It was like 91 years old, something like that. Isai, or what the hell was it? No, not on Lu Yun. Oh, this is the one right here, I think. Let's see, what is it called? I went to an old, oh no, this is not it. This is not it. I went to an old coffee shop in some place and it was like 2 hours away. And the guy's like, so what's the deal? And I was like, listen, you take me there, you wait for me for 2 hours, and then you take me back. Um, and that's fine. And we'll figure out the price. And we did. It was like 500 baht. And I was like, listen, it's going to cost me at least 250 baht to get there, another 250 baht to come back. And then, okay, he's got to wait around for 2 hours, but he's not doing anything. So I thought, all right, this is what we're going to do. And, we negotiated, and that was no problem. It's like that. That's okay. But when you start negotiating in Bangkok, oh, you're going to take me over there. It's 3 blocks away. Oh, okay, 200 baht, which is ridiculous. I mean, really. Turn the meter on. It's a law. Is the 2 to 5 law intended to prevent kids from drinking or what? No, not really. That's definitely not the main reason. So, I mean, they're really, they're misguided. We'll put it that way. Now, just because I don't agree with them doesn't mean it matters to them at all, because it doesn't. It doesn't mean anything to them, of course, what I think or what anybody else thinks. Now, maybe if the public mass starts complaining, I'm talking about thousands and thousands of people complaining, they might reconsider. But I have a feeling that with this kind of a situation, they're going to do what they want to do, and they don't care if you like it or not. And I guess if they get some money out of it, oh well, good for them. To me, it doesn't matter. The weed situation doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. All these things don't really affect me, but I know it does affect other people. Which is somewhat important. I mean, what's next? I don't know. Now, has anyone had the moment in 7-Eleven where they felt like they're a criminal for trying to buy beer after 2 o'clock or at the wrong time? I mean, I've had that happen to me too. Now, after, I got to say this, almost being here now half my life, I have realized that Thailand is the master at contradiction. It is modern here. It is ancient. It is yin and yang. It's free and yet it's restricted. It's practical and yet it's completely absurd. And this new alcohol law is the perfect example of all these things rolled into one. It's a country that wants to attract digital nomads, investors, retirees, tourists, and yet it treats alcohol like it's such a moral sin that must be contained within a timetable. It's laughable, really. And yet this is Thailand, TIT, baby. We're not living in Saudi Arabia here. So I don't understand what their problem is. There are some sevens here that sell alcohol. My closest one does not sell it at all. Yeah, well, they're taking a chance and they know it, the ones that do. And that's fine. Listen, let them do what it's them, right? Problem is if you buy something at 2:15 and you walk outside and you're like, "Oh God, I need this beer." You crack it open and cop pulls up, you're busted. I mean, when I think about it, I go, "Is this really that big of a deal?" Well, it is because it affects your freedom. Now, as far as the alcohol goes, oh, you've got to buy it before 2 o'clock. Okay, fine. Now, some people may not be able to do that because they're working or whatever, and they're pissed off. Well, then you got to get it after work. I don't know what the deal is. Now, I can tell you that where Alex works, every like twice a month or something, they give free beer and alcohol after work. I don't know how much it is. I don't. It's you don't have to pay, but I don't know how much they serve or will serve you. He doesn't drink much. He just likes to taste it just to say, "Oh, yeah, I had a wine." You know, that's really only the reason that he does it. Now, I'm pretty sure he gets off at 5 o'clock, so they start serving right after 5 o'clock. They don't serve during 5 o'clock. Before 5 o'clock, they don't serve. They're not serving at 2 o'clock, 2:15. It's ridiculous, man. Really, it is. Um, Thailand is a country that wants to attract all these people, and yet it treats alcohol like it's such a sin. And the 2 to 5 p.m. ban came from when. Well, think about this. Typewriters were high tech. Nobody had any cellular phones. There was no YouTube. There were no Sky Trains. There was no MRT. There wasn't even a canal boat taxi. Really. The soldiers were the ones who ran the government here. And the bureaucrats were told by them, you need to stay sober. You're not allowed to drink. You can't get drunk. Listen, I understand, oh, well, you can't get drunk during work hours and all that other stuff. After that, especially if I'm at home or I have a designated driver, fuck off. I'll get as drunk as I want. You have the right to do that. They don't have some moral obligation to keep you in check and to make sure. Don't be a bad boy. Don't you get drunk. The fact that we're still living under that mindset in 2025 is incredible. Not really because it's evil. It has nothing to do with, being mean or evil or anything like that. It's about being lazy. It's not reform, it's recycling. Really, when you think about it, it's the same. It's a tired form of control dressed up in a different language. And the worst part is that people here generally they just accept it. This is what they do. They conform to authority. Most people just go, might been right, and they move on and they just live their lives. That's what people want to just live their lives. They don't want to be messed with. They may not like the laws and things like that. They don't want to be messed with. They want to do what they want to do. They don't need the government to tell them, oh, you can't have sex unless you're facing your partner, and you shouldn't have sex unless you're married. Oh, God. Get a grip, man. Any country that engages in this kind of social justice, to me, I just don't understand it. I don't understand, what is the purpose of it and how much good is it really doing? Maipenrai is a very nice phrase. when used properly, and it works most of the time. But guess what? When you're getting fined, then obviously it matters. You can't say mipe and ride with this because we're going to charge you 10,000 baht. Unbelievable. Well, everything is about control. Everything here is about control. Regulating it. We've got to regulate it. We've got to control them. We don't want, what do you think? Why do you think the people in school do not learn critical thinking? They learn by rote. Why is that? You know why it is? Because the people at the top want to keep the people in the middle and the bottom down. They want to control them that way. Now, to me, that's what the truth is. I believe that. I'm not going to say anything about it. You know, hey, this is the way they handle their country. It's not my country. I can't do anything. I'm not trying to do anything. It's just what I see. Now, I could be wrong. I don't really think so, but maybe I am. I don't know. Now, all these things said, Thailand is still an incredible place to live. It is beautiful in some ways. In some places, it's a shithole. It's a very exciting place to live. I remember the first time that I came here, I was like, oh my God. And I do remember having the window down in my taxi coming from Don Muang, because there was no Suvarnabhumi. Coming from Don Muang with the window down at like 11:30 at night, thinking to myself, what are those smells? I still remember that. There were numerous different smells. Some of it was dirt, some of it was food, some of it was just garbage. But generally, Thailand is free in all the ways that matter, but it's still a country run by people who think freedom seems to need curfews. And that's kind of why these laws feel like time travel back to a Thailand that really doesn't even exist anymore, because the Thailand of old is gone, and it's been gone for a long time. I said a long time ago that I thought Thailand was done. Probably 20 years ago, I said in another 10 years, Thailand's done. Now, it's not done, but it has changed its focus when it comes to tourists. Most of the tourists now are Indian, Chinese, Russian, Malaysians, and I know I'm missing somebody. Israelis. They're not British, Americans, Australians. Those are a very small percentage of the pie. Okay. What's going on here? Um, so, when it comes to this particular law, I do think it's rather ludicrous. I just think it's unnecessary. It's outdated, and it's completely disconnected from reality. But more than that, it's a reminder that no matter how much this country modernizes, there's always a part of it living back in 1972. And maybe that's part of what makes Thailand Thailand. I don't know. It's the contradiction between the progress and nostalgia, between freedom and control, and you just learn to live with it. Or maybe if you're like me, you talk about it. I don't expect anything to happen. I certainly don't expect anything to happen because I'm talking about it. This is just the way that it is. You know, it is food for thought, though. So, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts about this? That's my question of you. What are your thoughts about this law and some of the other laws that Thailand has implemented recently? And what do you expect from the country? What do you think is going to happen in the near future? Anyone? Going once, going twice, ignored. You think it's going to be ignored? I don't really think it's going to be ignored. Yeah, I don't really give a shit either. To be honest, I don't really care. But the thing is that they can continue to pass laws and you go, I don't care. Doesn't matter. No big deal. Whatever. I don't care. Then one day they pass a law and you do care and you care about it a lot. Yeah, you know what? We don't have any beer here. Now, my wife used to drink a beer once in a while, and maybe I would drink some with her. But I can tell you, I don't I don't drink beer. I'm not worried about it. Doesn't bother me. Now, that's me. What about everybody else out there? That's what I'm asking. And not getting any there's only what, 2 people that responded. Um, you know, so anyway, I can tell there's a lot of enthralled people out there. Yeah, hey, who, wow. I know a lot of people really they don't care because they'll just go early. But for the ties and for the people working, some of them they can't. This law will be just like every other knee-jerk reaction laws. I doubt there will be an enforcement. I keep beer from my guests and contractors. Too much energy and resources from law enforcement to handle such a broad sweeping law. You mean it takes too much energy and resources from law enforcement? Well, here's the thing. What exactly is law enforcement doing? Directing traffic? I mean, really? What are they doing? I don't see them doing all that much. I don't see them going out to house now granted, I'm not everywhere and I'm not down on the Thai police. I just never see them. When I do see them, they're directing traffic. They're making sure that people don't run red lights and, they're maybe they're fining people for not having helmets. Maybe they're fining somebody because they're speeding, something like that. Quite frankly, I didn't think that they were gonna do yeah, exactly. They don't do anything. I didn't think they were going to really go after people when it came to the weed law, but I did think that they would have, a couple of high profile busts or something like that. They haven't done anything. And this is Thailand. It really is. This is Thailand. Yeah. And how often is that, Jim? You know, I mean, they're usually looking for illegal immigrants. I mean, I'm on a bus every once in a while and somebody will come on and maybe, listen, I've been asked for my passport. I don't know if you guys remember the one time I was sitting on the bus. I'm sitting next to some guy. I don't know the guy. He's like a Brit or something, right? But I'm talking to him. He's like, "Hey, where you come from?" And blah blah blah. We're talking. So he is sitting with me, and we get stopped. And they come on. They board the bus. I'm chilled. They're like, "Let me see your passport." I said, "Yeah." Open up my bag, give them the passport. Okay, no problem. Then they said to the guy next to me, "Where's your passport?" He goes, "Oh, I don't have it with me." They go, "Do you have a copy of it? Do you have?" No, no, I don't. And he goes, "This guy knows me though." And I go, "I don't know him from Adam." I go, "I don't know him. May Jack. Sorry, buddy, I don't know you. I'm not I'm not getting involved with you. I don't know you. I know you. I talked to you for an hour, but I don't know you outside of this bus. And then they really they took them in and they looked at everything and they tried to follow up with everything. They inevitably let him go because I think they found out that his visa was current and all that other kind of stuff. But it took us like 15-20 minutes. One thing I learned: if you mind your business and keep low key, then you get away with it. Thailand is about tourism and alcohol is a huge part of it. Yes, these type of people who become cops are typically power hungry losers. I'm not going to lump them all into that category, but I understand it for sure. Just like in the US. Same with helmet laws, only enforced sporadically and against Farang. Well, I wouldn't say it's only enforced against Farang because I see the Thais getting pulled over all the time. I'd say once a week, the Thais are getting pulled over. They're getting stopped. The cop will wave them over, get over here, and they come over, and then they're busted, and they pay a little fine. You got a salami sandwich in the refrigerator in a bag. The birthday boy. How's it feel now, being 23? Weird. Why, you feel that old? Do you carry your passport around the neighborhood? I don't carry mine unless I am traveling outside the province. No, I don't. I what I carry is a copy of the front page of the passport and a copy of the visa and when the visa expires. And that's it. So if they ask, I can go, well, I got it right here, or we can just go home. No problem. I haven't been asked for mine in years. I've been asked twice in all the time that I've been here. Once I was walking down Aso on the corner of Sukhumvit and Aso, and there was this cop standing there. And he started talking to me. And then he asked me, "You got your visa?" I said, "Yeah, of course." "Let me see it." Okay. I showed it to him real quick. He goes, "Okay, no problem." That was it. The other guy, I don't even remember. It was so long ago. It was probably 30 years ago. So, yeah. Anyway, when I say I think it's crazy, I do think it's pretty crazy. When asked for my passport, I pull out my resident card. I don't give a shit about that. They want to see the passport. Most of the time, you show them the passport, they go, all right, all right. Same with the resident card, but I can't be bothered with that, to be honest. I almost never need to show any kind of card like that, you know. I mean, all these things are good, and you can get around things pretty easily if you're just polite and respectful. I've said this in numerous videos, and I'm saying it in some of the videos I got coming up. You can't be a dick here. You act like a dick, people will call you on it. They're gonna go, "Oh, you want to be a dick to me? You want to be difficult with me? Okay, I'm gonna show you, buddy." And there are more than a handful of guys that, because they said something to the wrong guy, they're not here anymore. They're gone, which I think is kind of funny because you're always, I don't know how I see it in America where people are disrespectful to police or, no, I'm not showing you this. I'm not showing you. Like, just show them that freaking thing. If you got nothing to hide, just show it to them. Most of the time, they're not just trying to break the laws so that they can mess with you. Be decent. Be polite. And this is coming from me. I'm not always decent and polite, but when it comes to the authorities, I'm always nice. I always try to be decent because they can make your life a living hell if they want to. I mean, seriously, you got to be an absolute fool to mess with the police. "Oh, I'm not showing you that." No, I don't have to. You know, or you're in a fight with somebody and they go, break it up, break it up. Okay, you should back up, get out of range of the guy so he can't hit you. And you go, okay, no problem. You put your hands together and you sit there. You don't do anything. You stand there with your hands together. You don't do a damn thing. I just don't understand how people are that stupid. Yeah, do unto others as you would like done to you. And most of the time, I think most of the people that I come into contact with, any foreigners, they're always pretty decent to me. If they're not decent to me, I'll just walk away, or I'll say something to them, and then I'll walk away. But it's not gonna. I'd say most of the time, there's not going to be any major problems. And when it comes to the ties, I've had ties question me on certain things and tell me I can't do this or I can't do that. And I've said to them, no, I don't think you're right. I think I can do that. And I will do that because I've done it many times before. And I don't think you know what you're talking about. And then, sometimes they go, "Mm." And if they really wanted to be difficult about it, I'd go, all right, no problem. I'm not going to get into a hassle about it. Yeah, all that kind of bullshit. I don't well, I'm a sovereign citizen. Yeah, just put me on the coast somewhere in front of a beach. My rent's paid. I got plenty of food in the refrigerator. I'm nice and tan. I'm laying there. I'm like relaxed. Oh yeah, baby, this is the life. I'm living the life. And if I'm home, I'll say this. Yesterday, I said to Nicholas, "It's a little bit loud today, isn't it?" He's like, "Yep." I'm like, "Okay, all right." It was loud it was loud because they were drilling the street in front of us, the street that our village is on. They were uh, jackhammering a little section of street right in front of us. And we were watching a movie. We were watching Frankenstein. And I'm like, it's late in the afternoon and they're doing this. And they just kept going on and on. And part of me wanted to go, what the what's going on here? But I knew, first of all, they're not going to go past a certain time. And second of all, they got to do it. It's their job. So well, it ain't no big deal, right? Well, now it's all done. The street is beautiful. You know, I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. However, I would like that never happened. But, that's perfection. I just asked the resident know-it-all what the reason for not selling alcohol between two. She shrugged her shoulders. Stupid law. She says that it means extra income for cops. Well, that's what everybody always says. But it was because of the military back in the day. I think before she was born. Um, yeah, whatever. You know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Um, it just doesn't really matter. I'm not driving, officer. I'm traveling, and you have no right to my ID. Yes, I do. I need to know your name, and I'd like to see your driver's license because you were driving this vehicle. I need to see your license, please. Nope, I'm not giving you a thing. Rolls up the window. Roll down the window, sir. I'm going to break your window. I'm going to break your window. Smash. Get out of the car. No, you can't make me get out of the car. Oh, really? They open the door. They go in. They drag the lady or the guy out of the car. And it's like, all right, dude, I know some people think they know the law like lawyers, but the only one who really knows the law like lawyers is lawyers. And even that, sometimes the lawyers shouldn't be speaking up. Okay. Well, I don't know that alcohol is poison, but from the way that I look at it, is just it doesn't. This is why I stopped drinking it. And believe me, the other night we got a bottle of wine. It's a really good bottle of wine, um, and I was like, oh, I think I'll have a glass of wine, and then I just thought, nah, I'm not gonna. And the only reason is because I think, what's it gonna do for me to make me a better person? What positive is coming from me drinking? Nothing. I don't need to be around people and like be like, woo, yeah, yeah, baby, woo, woo. All right, yeah, all right, let's go. I don't need to be doing that. I'm my own person. I'm just quiet, unassuming, you know, just want to chill, man. Take a chill pill, relax. That's it. I thought it was pretty good. It was a little bit weird, but I thought it was pretty good. I did like how they made him, like indestructible and how um he was just throwing people all over the place. Well, yeah, but there's a lot of things that are unhealthy. And sometimes you hear, "Oh, it's unhealthy." Sometimes you hear, "Oh, well, that's not unhealthy. It's healthy." So, listen, I've heard that drinking a glass of wine every day is good for you. So, whatever. It's your choice. That's the thing. It's my choice if I don't want to drink. I've drank plenty over the years, and I've drank a glass of wine now and then the last couple of years, maybe even a beer every once in a while. Now I just won't do it. And I do feel, I don't know that it's just because of the lack of alcohol. I think it's the way that I'm eating. is, although I did have a piece of cake last night, how I'm eating is a big difference. I mean, I'm eating very healthy. So, drinking contaminated water is bad for you too. Just saying. Well, I don't know. I drink bottled water. You mentioned this had to do with military back in the day. What was it like in old Thailand? Well, I'm not that old. Jesus Christ. 31 plus years ago, it was quite a bit different than here. It was more old school. Uh, People didn't have cell phones. And shortly thereafter, they started having cell phones. Um, and basically, it was just, oh, I can message or call the person. And then, the next thing you know, they're smartphones and they're getting smarter and smarter and smarter. And I'm like going, Jesus Christ. And I remember when I came over here and I first saw it, I thought, wow, I got to get me one of those. And then I thought, I wonder how much they are. So I went and looked and I go, $1,000? I'm like, what the? And I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have to wait a little bit. And then finally I got one. And then it's all started from there, And I'll be honest, at this point, I told the wife, I said, listen, use your phone as a phone. Use it as to listen to music. Don't watch too much YouTube. And then when you're not using it, turn the thing off. I don't have any reason to turn my phone on. I mean, really, honestly. The only reason is because I want to listen to music, and you can turn music on. You can download music. You can download movies from Netflix. So you got downloaded material on your phone. You just turn your phone off. I mean, you basically put it on airplane mode. Make sure that everything is off, your Bluetooth, your Wi-Fi, all that other stuff, and you just watch that stuff. Listen to that stuff. And nobody can call you, nobody can message you. You're alone, you're isolated, oh yes, this is peace. I know there's not going to be somebody. Now, the other day, our TV took a dump. When was it? Friday night. I think it was Friday night. Was it Friday night? You remember, Nick, when it was? I think it was Friday night. And on Saturday, I'm like, well, I think it was Friday when we were checking and we're trying to get the thing fixed and I'm turning it on and off. I'm resetting it. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I'm like, this thing ain't going to work. So finally, we called up Panasonic and they said, oh, here's a number for our registered sales or a repairman or whatever. So we called up the repairman. He says, yeah, you got to come to me. Okay. So on Saturday, we took it to him. And his place was a house, just a big house. It was a big townhouse. And he had a big sign on there and everything. So we left it with him. He goes, it'll be 3 days. That was on Saturday afternoon. And then on Monday, we got a call from him. And I'm thinking, who's calling my phone? I don't recognize this number. Usually it's like Grab or Shopee or something like that. And I'm like, I answer. So I answered him and I go, TV? He goes, yes, TV. I said, okay, it's ready? Yes. How much? Okay. Boom. 3,400 baht. But we went there right away, picked it up. Boom. Now it works and it's like brighter and better than ever. So we're happy. Yeah. So we're good. Anyway, so there you go. That was a good thing. That was the phone call that ended well. And most of the time the phone's either off or I'm not getting phone calls because I have everything else off, and that's the way I like it now. And I'll be honest, that's one reason I haven't been streaming as much. You know, I'm streaming, I'm here, I'm live, right? I'm not streaming, I can do my own thing. I can hang out on some little island for 3, 4 days. Nobody knows about it. Nobody knows anything. Nobody in the world knows where I am except my wife and kids. That's about it. Anyway, all these people commenting, I really appreciate it. Thank you for joining into the chat, coming into the chat and joining in. I appreciate it. So I guess it's going to be maybe another 10 days, 15 days, and I'll stream again. I don't know what I'll stream about. I have no idea at the moment, but hopefully it'll be something interesting. And, we already knew that this law was rather ludicrous. It is what it is. So, you know, not much we can do about it. But, do a do a workaround. If you need to get beer, go in a little bit early. Drink at home. You know, hey Henry, how you doing? Long time no see. How's things? But I would not let this law get you, and hopefully they will decide to not implement it. They will not do anything, and people can do what they want to do. And I think that would be good for tourism because people want to drink. I hate to tell you, they want to drink, and they want to drink when they want to drink. If I want to drink an orange juice, I don't want to have to wait another 2 hours, 3 hours to be able to buy orange juice. It's just like a beer. If I want a beer, I shouldn't have to wait. Yeah, well, I can't control that either. Just back from 2 weeks in Bangkok and Pattaya, cold and raining in Scotland, which is pretty depressing. Bangkok and Pattaya, my friend is going to Pattaya, and I'm like, why are you going there? He's been there many times. She's not going for the punani. I'm like, why are you going there? Why don't you go somewhere else? I don't know. Up to him, up to everybody else. You want to go there and go have a good time. I mean, you can have a great time there. Um, and like I said, I don't hate the place, just not my favorite. I would go other places. I'll go any place, especially I'll go places you haven't heard of. And I'll go places and there are no tourists there, or there are very, very few tourists there. I'm talking about maybe there's a half a dozen tourists you might see, and that's it. Man, you go to Pattaya, forget about it. There's tourists everywhere. There's more tourists than there are Thais, you know? I mean, pretty much. So, but a good time is to be, listen, a good time is to be had no matter where you are. If you want to have a good time, you're going to have a good time. You want to have a good time in Bangkok, you can do it. You want to have a good time in Pattaya, you can do it. You want to go to Chumpon or Hua Hin or Prachuap, you can do it. Very easy. Just like with the ties, it's about your mindset. That's what it is. So, anyway, Henry, I'm sorry. This is the end of the stream. We were right at the end of the stream when you came in. I can hear Nicholas milling around. I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, so I guess that's it. Thank you. That is all. I will talk to you guys later. Okay. Thank you. Goodbye. Ciao. Yes. Goodbye.